Massive fight over the ballot box is underway in Arizona. Republicans there have introduced more than 24 bills, and that's just this month alone. They are all designed to make changes to election procedures, and that's despite finding zero evidence of fraud in the last presidential election. Now, many of these bills are informed by conspiracy theories, as well as former President Donald Trump's false claims that the 2020 election was stolen. So, NBC News senior reporter Jane Timm has been tracking this story for us. Jane, first off, can you just dive into these bills? What do they say? And how about the vendors who are operating the voting machines that are sort of at the heart of this? How are they responding?
Yeah, so the bills there's more than 24 bills. They span the gamut of what they want to do, but they centrally talk a lot about fraud. So they're looking for fraud. They're trying to either prove fraud with, say, a special elections bureau that would investigate fraud, or they're trying to prevent fraud with different requirements, like saying you need a voter ID card and maybe your fingerprint to prove your identity at ballots. They're also talking about changing the paper on which these ballots are printed with things like bank level security watermarks or holograms, as well as a bunch of different things like infrared tagging. One of the things is when I read this, I called someone who prints Maricopa County, the largest Arizona county, prints their ballots, as well as, lots and lots of ballots around the country.
Right.
And I said, does this bill make sense to you? Do you know what all of these different requirements, 19 different requirements in that bill? And he said, I had to Google some of these terms and these requirements, all of these things that really seem rooted in that partisan ballot review that we covered last year in Maricopa County. The idea that if they were looking for these watermarks, and they weren't there, they're now thinking maybe we should put them into the ballots for some kind of ballot security, despite the fact that that partisan review, as controversial as it was, really didn't find evidence of a voter fraud.
And Jane, we have to go here, so I have to ask you this briefly, but I do want to know, do we have a sense yet of how this particular battle in Arizona could impact the midterms really beyond the state lines as we look at this year?
It could make it very hard to vote in Arizona, which, of course, is the closest presidential election. This is just a very influential state. And I think it could also make a whole lot of chaos before the ballots, because people are already ordering and printing and getting those ballots ready for November. Election administration starts pretty early. So it's going to be a hustle to try and make changes before November.
All right. NBC's Jane Timm for us there. Jane, thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.